Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Gift to Gab. On today's episode, we're speaking with Jordan Markus. He's currently playing Michael Jackson in the first ever national tour of MJ the Musical. So, this is your first Broadway debut, correct?
It is. This is my first Broadway tour and was my first Broadway show.
How does that feel after all the years of just being in the musical theater industry?
Oh my God. It feels very rewarding, very rewarding. It's been a whirlwind of a time dealing with a show like this, any
Yeah.
Broadway show, but especially a show like this. I mean, it's a nonstop juggernaut. Once you're in it, it's like a bullet train until the end. So this show is very fulfilling, and for it to be my Broadway debut was everything I could have imagined.
Yeah, that's incredible. So can you tell me a little bit about the first year on tour compared to the second year involved in the production? Because I know that you went from being the understudy to an alternate now that
Yeah.
you have 2 shows a week, I believe you said, on social
That's
media?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
how has that
exactly it.
shift been for you?
That shift has been it's been honestly really calming in a crazy sense because as a standby or an understudy, you don't know when you're going on.
Yeah.
And like at a moment's notice, they'll call your phone and be like, "You're on tonight, like get ready for the show."
Yeah.
And I mean, that whole aspect is kind of nerve-wracking in and of itself, but having a schedule now to like know exactly when I'm doing what, and even then sometimes I'll add more shows to my week if someone else calls out or I'll know that in the back of my mind, like I have these two, this is my schedule for the week. Like I know
Yeah,
exactly
it's
what I'm
easier
doing.
to have a schedule than not have one
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. You don't have one at all as a standby or an understudy if you're covering roles. You just have to be ready at a moment's notice. And that can be a little jarring. But I mean also just be able to perform more frequently with this incredible cast has been super fun.
Can you tell me a little bit about the atmosphere at rehearsals and kind of the culture of the workplace?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone everyone in this cast is so different and we all it's like I mean, it's a huge melting pot of people in this show, but we're all also goofballs. Like everybody in this cast will get you laughing at literally anything just because I mean, we have each other all the time, which on a tour can be either the best or worst thing about it.
Yeah, sounds about
But
right.
with this cast, it truly is the best thing about it. Like I mean it when I say everybody in this cast. I can't think of one person who right now would be like, messing up the vibe, so to speak. It's a really good time with all these people. Like performing with them on stage is so fun. We're always cracking jokes like backstage when we're not on, and then in rehearsals. I mean, that's all we do when we're not like in work mode. We're just goofing off, having a good time because I mean that's what it's about. At the end of the day, we're
Yeah,
having
that's
fun.
awesome. When you, like,
Yeah.
have, like, a cast that you genuinely connect with, it's awesome, especially, like, the end result is so rewarding to begin with, never mind with
Oh
people that
yeah.
you actually get along with and, like, can enjoy the process with. So,
Exactly.
I'm really glad that that is your first experience on Broadway, 'cause
Yeah, me
that's
too.
can you tell me a little bit about the audition process and, like, what your first thoughts were when you were first auditioning for this role?
Oof. The audition process for this role was actually surprisingly very quick. It was, I think, because I came in like right before rehearsals were about to start for this tour in what was that, May of 2023.
Mhm.
Um, I got, I was doing a different show in San Diego, California at the time, and one of my castmates in that show just happened to know the casting director for this tour, like from way back. Like they
Yeah.
were good friends from way back. And she was like,
Connections in this industry is very important.
as you know,
Yeah.
connections can make or break you here. So she called her up. She was like, "Hey, I know you're casting this tour. Like, I have this guy who might be good. He likes Michael Jackson music. He's like, blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Okay, have him send in a video." So I sent in a tape. And I would say like a week and a half later, they called me and were like, "Hey, can you come to New York for this callback?" Mind you, I'm doing a show in California at the time.
Yeah,
So we only have Mondays off. So
okay.
on Mondays, I would go to New York for the callback, fly back Tuesday to do the show Tuesday night. And then I did that, I think, 2 or 3 times during that, like, 3-week
That's so
period of
awesome.
auditions. Yeah, it was a lot, but it was really fun. It was really, really fun. And in the room, I mean, our director, Christopher Wilden, he was there. Our associate director, Dante Keene, she was there. Very it was really nerve-wracking at the time, but, like, now that I've come to know them a little better, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I see what y'all were, like, trying to get out of me in the room." And, I went in, did my thing. They asked me if I knew any Michael Jackson songs. I was like, "Absolutely." Went down the list. They were like, "Okay, work with these 3 and then come back in a bit, in, like, 30 minutes, and then we'll, sing through them." And, it was a good time. It was really short, sweet, to the point, and, yeah, after, like, second call back, I got a call that I was gonna come do the tour in, like, 4
So
days.
see, that's great because I know that, like, the anticipation of waiting on a role is, like, the most stressful thing. Like,
Yes, oh my god. I really lucked out because some of the people on the tour, like, to this day, they had to wait, like, 10 months
oh
for the
god,
rehearsals to start, like, after they had already known they had the part. I would have been like,
that's
"Come
so
on, can we go?"
stressful too.
It's really stressful. So I'm glad my process was a little expedited in that sense.
Yeah. What did your audition tape consist of?
Oh man. So we do tons of songs in the show. Like every Michael Jackson song you can think of is probably in the show. But what my first tape consisted of um a couple of the dance numbers that we do. One of which was I can remember Blame It on the Boogie was definitely one of the first tapes I sent in. Which is one of his songs when he was like still with his brothers with the Jacksons. And one of the vocal tapes I sent in, I'm trying to remember, it was so long ago at this point. I for sure remember singing Stranger in Moscow because I did that tape so many times because I just couldn't get it right. I'm like, "Ah, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right." But I ended up just sending it in, and I mean, I guess it worked. So
I know.
I
Well, that's
guess,
what's hard about being a perfectionist, especially in this industry. It's
yeah.
I'm when I'm doing, like, my dance stuff or even, like, my broadcast stuff, I'm constantly, like, picking at, like, the littlest things that
The
nobody else
tiniest,
realizes.
nobody would notice, but I'm like, I cannot send this
Uh,
in.
I know.
Uh,
So, why is this role as Michael Jackson so important to you?
oh man, I mean, it's MJ. It's the guy. He is what a lot of artists aspire to be or aspire to be like. I mean, your favorite artist, Michael Jackson is probably their favorite artist because of the paths he paved in the time that he was alive. Like he worked tirelessly on his craft, which we all, even if you're not a singer, dancer, anything like, we can all be inspired by that because he was a perfectionist. He worked tirelessly. And I mean that when I say it, I mean, this role means everything to my like 9-year-old self because like when he passed, I was 9 years old. And that was when I really first got a glimpse into who he was. Because I mean, of course, I had like seen the Thriller video and like heard a couple of his songs before that, but when he passed is really when I saw his impact. Like the world stopped for like a few days. I don't know if you remember that, but it was
Yeah.
just I was just like, who is like why is everybody so sad? Like what's going on? So I went on a deep dive on the internet and was just like watching all of his videos and listening to his songs and
With that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was and I was like, oh my God, this guy, he was like the guy. So being able to play him and portray him even for a couple hours on stage is the most rewarding thing I think I could be doing right now, which is super crazy to say out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do right now in my life.
That's incredible. So, Michael Jackson has a very unique style, not only singing, but dancing as well. Can you tell me a little bit about, like, the choreography aspect of it all, how long it kinda took you to learn and
Mm,
execute, and your journey throughout that?
that's a good question. It so we have our what we call our Michael Jackson movement coordinators. Their names are Rich and Tone Talawega. They worked with Michael for years. They toured with him. They actually choreographed the "You Rock My World" video. They
Nice.
choreographed that, so they came to work with us for a couple months before we kicked off the tour, and then they still come by just to tweak some things, do some maintenance on our moves. But yeah, I mean they were really, 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 really strict about sticking to the original.
Yeah.
Really, like he had, like you said, he has a very distinct style of movement. He has a vocabulary of movement that he utilizes throughout all of his performances, and they were like, "This is the blueprint. This is what we're doing. If you're not doing it right, you're not doing it. Like it's not good." And they will literally tell you that. They're like, "No, that's not good," to your face. And I'm like, "What? I'm trying my best." But no, I mean, if it weren't for them, I don't think we would have gotten as close to Michael as we have, because they were they were really adamant about getting it right, and still are to this day. Like it's not a one and done situation. Like we still rehearse every week. Like we
Yeah.
have
You have
brush up
to.
rehearsals all the time. You have to, as a dancer, like if you don't do it, if you don't use it, you lose it. So it's, yeah, it's got to be pretty much as Michael would do. Like he would rehearse all the time, and he was Michael Jackson. Like he'd be in front of a mirror all the time.
Rewarding that you have like the choreographers that actually worked with him. Not a lot of people get that, and that's an
Exactly.
incredible experience, especially on
Yeah.
tour.
Oh yeah. For people that were actually in the room with him to tell us like what he was like, not even just as a dancer, just as a person. Like who gets that?
I
It's really
know.
cool.
So I know that you've done plenty of videos with the MJ spin. How long has it taken you to actually get that down pat?
Ooh, I'm still getting it down actually, but I mean it's a process like any dance is. I would say before I even like hit record on my phone, that like I think the first video in that compilation you're referring to has was like a year ago to this day. But before I even started doing those videos, I would spend in the rehearsal studio for hours on end, like I want to say for at least 6 weeks, at least every single day. It
Yeah.
was, and I mean, I'm dizzy thinking about it because I was spending for my life in there. It was, it was
Spot,
crazy,
spot,
but
spot, spot, spot.
yes, and I mean, they're so quick, they're so tight, and I always loved them. Even as a child, I'm like, how does he do that? So I've just
Yeah.
been trying to perfect it as much as I can. Still am to this day, but yeah, it took a while to even get to where you saw.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite scene or song that you get to perform?
Ooh, sing a song. I would say, dance and choreography wise, "Smooth Criminal" is definitely my favorite number in the show.
That is one of
It's
my
so,
favorite songs.
mine too. Yeah, it's definitely in like my top three favorite songs in videos ever. It's so, I just love that song. And in the show, it's really, really spectacular. It really is. Uh, and vocally, I would probably say "Stranger in Moscow." I love that song. I didn't know it as well before I started doing this show. As I'm learning, a lot of people don't like really know that song, but like once I heard the original like as many times as I could and like sang through it as much as I could and perform it to this day, it's a really beautiful song. It's just a beautiful song to sing. So I would say vocally "Stranger in Moscow," dance wise "Smooth Criminal" for sure.
Okay, can you give me like a little preview?
A pre
A little preview. I listen, I know, I get it. Like when people ask me, like, oh, can you like do a dance move right now? It's like, why would you ever ask me to do
Why
that?
would you ask me that?
But I'm here in my journalism mode right now, so I have to ask.
Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see if I have any space that my dog Milo hasn't taken up. He's over here playing with his ear. Want to say hi, buddy? This is him
Oh, he's
over
so
here.
cute.
Yeah,
Here.
over there snarling on this pig ear. I got him. Let's see. Um, where am I right now? There's literally no space in here.
If not, give me like a little high note or something.
A little high note. I can give you a
Yeah.
little. Let's
Give me a
see.
little like
a little, a
warm
little
up the
something.
vocals.
All
Gotta
right, gotta
drink water.
warm up a little bit. Oh, what can we do? What can we do? I mean, everyone loves a good hee hee. That always gets them
You
going. But
know, that was gonna be my last thing before we completely ended this interview. But if you want to do it
oh
now,
my
we
god.
can do that.
Are we awake?
I know
okay.
how awkward this is too, because like I know how awkward it is on your end of things. So it's just so funny to be on the other side of it right now.
Right, you're like, oh my god, this is what they feel like when they ask me this.
Really?
It's so funny. Oh, okay. We'll see if you remember this song. Looking out across the nighttime, the city wakes asleep beside. Hear her voice shake my window, sweet seducing sigh.
That is
You got to pay for a
so
ticket for the
good.
rest. You gotta
No, like I
pay.
could like listen to that and like go to sleep. Like
I
you
love
could
that
have just
song.
I could have just fell asleep right there. That was probably better than the Glee version. In the Glee
Oh
version,
my
nothing
god,
gets better than the
that's.
Glee version.
I was about to say that's a real compliment. You know,
Yes,
the Glee version is really good.
it.
It is.
Smooth Criminal Glee version is it.
Oh, with those strings. Oh my god,
The
so good,
strings and everything, it's
so
just
good,
so intense. Like makes
so
my
good.
eyes water because I'm like so into it.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
So can you tell me someone that you look up to in the industry as a performer or someone that you would like to work with in the future or someone that you just wish that you could learn from?
Let's see. Someone I look up to in the industry, I would say. There's a lot. I'm trying to like sift through my memory right now.
You can name a few.
I would. Okay, I would really love to work with Alex Newell at some point. Their vocals are just insane, and I
I
just
think they're from Boston.
really
I might be completely wrong. Let me
wow.
let me see. I'm from Boston, so I think that's how I know.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna check now because now I'm curious.
right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they are from Lit,
Wow,
2 cities over from me.
wow. So you have the connection, so you can get me in. Okay, I got
Oh
you.
yeah, hopefully I'm gonna try to get in and then I'll get you
Nice.
in. We'll
Sounds good. Okay, we'll work together on
work
this.
on it.
But no, their vocals are just insane. They're always. I mean, you brought up Glee. Like since Glee like left me mesmerized, I'm just like, how does your voice do that? It's insane.
Um,
Um, and also, I mean, sadly, a lot of like our greats have passed recently, and I just like James Earl Jones was one of my biggest inspirations for a long time, just because of how versatile he was, and that just breaks my heart that he's not here anymore, and I never got to meet him. But that would definitely be one. And yeah, I mean, there's tons, but I would love to work with everyone I can.
I
As you
know.
know, this is connection-based business.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about like your experience growing up, getting into musical theater, singing, dancing, the whole acting, the whole spiel?
Yeah, well, fun fact, I never really thought about musical theater until like late high school. I was 17, I think, when I did my first musical, which is really late to start for a
Yeah.
lot of people. But I always loved singing. I was singing since I can remember. I mean, in church or in my house, just annoying my siblings because I wouldn't shut up, or just in the car, in the shower, wherever I could. I always loved to sing. I don't remember loving anything more, honestly. Like it's been with me my entire life. And there was a point in my time where I would do other things, like I would play basketball or I would draw and I would like write things. But singing always stuck with me. That was like my mainstay since I can remember anything. Like my first memories of singing. Also, I think dancing came around the time that theater came.
Mhm.
I loved to dance and I loved Michael as a kid, so I would always imitate his moves, which is really funny that we're here now. But he was like my first experience dancing, and of course that video game, the Michael Jackson experience. I would be
Yes.
in front of the TV all day dancing to that game. So those are my first dance classes. But I started taking it more seriously around the time I graduated high school when I was around 18 years old. Um, Taking classes in my area, just trying to hone my craft. And yeah, it all came together, like the singing, the dancing, and the acting all came together really when I did my first show, which was Bring It On, the musical. that,
Nice.
that was my first musical at 17 years old. And I only did it because I was playing basketball at the time and injured myself and I couldn't finish the season. So I was like, I had to do something. And that became the thing. And
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun.
When you started, well, I know that you said you've been singing forever, but when you started to really take singing seriously, like how old were you?
Mhm. When I took it seriously, I want to say I was in middle school, maybe. I want to say like 12 or 13 years old when I was like, oh, I can really like do something with this. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be just for fun, you know?
I know. I wish I could sing. I say it all the time. I listen, I like to say I have a lot of talents when it comes to performing and dancing and
You
talk.
do. I've seen the footage. You
All
do.
I can do is I could talk forever and I could dance forever. But singing is not my strength. And I really, really, really wish that I could. And I tell my family this all the time. I'm like, I would be unstoppable if I could sing.
Oh my
Because
God.
right now, I can't sing and I don't care. And I still sing. So the fact that, like, if God gave me
You'd be too powerful
talent,
if
I'd
you
be
had
too
the
powerful.
voice. Yeah, you already have the moves. You can't have them both. We
I
got to
can't
pick
have,
one.
they said, no, chill. You need
No,
to be humbled.
she has enough.
Yeah, my mom's like, "You really think you can sing?" And I'm like, I'll be in the car, like, really, like, I'm like, well, I can't sing, like, for example, like Ariana Grande, like, she has all these high notes, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't do that, but I sing it like that because I'm not gonna sing it with a deep voice because she doesn't sing it with a
Right.
deep
That's not
voice.
how it is. Yeah.
That's not how it works.
I'll tell you what, we'll trade. If you can teach me how to lift my leg to my ear, I can give you
Right.
vocal lessons.
Listen, we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. We can do it. We
We're
can
gonna do
set it up right now. Let's
it.
go.
Speaking of your whole singing experience,
Yeah.
I originally met you through TikTok.
Yeah.
Yes, and then when you follow me back, I was like, "Yes." So whenever someone like mentions you, I'm like, "Yeah, like we're like friends on social media."
Yeah. I saw your dance videos. I was like, oh, she's really talented. She's really
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
So I know I started seeing like your like Disney Channel like parodies,
Yes.
all that stuff. But the TikTok that really got me was
Hmm.
like you were the one person to say this that nobody else would, but everyone was thinking about it. And it was about Bailey Madison as a kid.
Oh my God.
And someone like commented, like, what did she do? And you were like, exist, bro. You were like,
Yeah.
exist. And
Exa-
I'm like, this is so funny because I kept my mouth shut for years about
it's
that
so long.
for so long. And I don't know why I would see her in everything. And I'm like, I hate this
Everything.
girl for no reason at all. She's
For no,
beautiful,
like,
so talented,
right. She's
like she's
super
like
talented. As
so
an adult,
great.
I'm like, oh my God, she's actually really good. But as a
Yeah,
child, I couldn't stand her. And I don't
I
know why.
know.
I
Oh,
don't know why.
oh my God, like, when I tell you that was, like, the funniest thing that I've ever seen.
Because what did she do?
She
Nothing.
did
I just,
absolutely nothing, but it was a
just,
universal thing that just nobody said.
no one liked
When I
her.
saw that on my For You page, I was literally like I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I am not the only one who thought this, like, growing up."
Absolutely. It's just, I think, just as a kid, like seeing her face on everything. Also, I mean, she was booked and busy back then. She had
Yeah.
her face was on
She
my
already
screen
had her life
constantly.
together way back when.
And I
Before
think
we
that's
even thought
why.
about having our
I was
lives
like,
together.
why is she always in my face? But I mean, hey, Bailey Madison, you're beautiful, you're talented. We love you. I just, as a child, I could not stand you.
No,
Uh,
the hate is what makes you stronger, and we are supporters now.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so fun. I had to mention that. I've been dying to mention it to you. I was like, I need to add this into this
You
talk
have to. You gotta add it in. I'm glad you did. I forgot I even made
tonight.
it.
So funny. I
Oh my God.
when did so like why did you start doing those like Disney Channel like parody type things? Because I mean like for example like my TikTok stuff like
Uh-huh.
everyone's like, "Oh my God, like you do so many things." And I'm like, "I just did it for fun and it just happened to
Yeah.
work out." But those were like my best videos. But I don't
Yeah.
know, some people have like an exciting story behind it. So that's my question to you.
Okay. Well, it's so funny because the reason I started making videos in the first place was because we were in a pandemic on lockdown. We couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess I'll like download TikTok. I keep hearing people talk about it and I'll just use that to like pass the time. And I was just gonna scroll and be a spectator or whatever. But it was around this time because I was back home with my family during the lockdown period, which was really nice because I got to spend so much time with them and really sit down and like just enjoy their company as much as I could. Because right now I don't really get to see them ever. But yeah, that was a really nice time. And we would sit down every Sunday and like pick a movie to watch. And I noticed the pattern that we kept picking movies from like our childhood that we would watch all the
Those were
time.
the
So
times.
those were the
Are
times.
not like that anymore. Kids don't understand
I
what a
know
tablet is anymore.
it was such a good time in media and music and everything. So we would always pick like an old DCOM or an old Nickelodeon movie to watch. And I'm like, oh man, I remember these. Like these were so funny. I mean, right now they look crazy and silly and cheesy, but like we used to love these movies. So I was like, I don't remember my first video that I made about it, but I know that it got a lot of attention. I was like, oh, like y'all remember this? Like this is
Yeah.
crazy. Like I didn't think there would be such a community for these people. But I mean, we all grew up on these things. Like we would all sit down in front of the TV at 8, 7 Central, whatever that meant back then.
Oh my gosh.
I
That is so funny because I mentioned that the other day to my friend.
was like,
I
I
was
had
like,
no idea.
I was doing my show. It's like an entertainment show. And
Uh-huh.
I was posting like the time. I was like, I'm gonna do like 7 6 Central. And I'm like, so I searched it up because I searched it up. I was like, what exactly does this mean? Because I remember years ago I said that, but I'm like,
I
how
was
do
like,
we as kids even know that?
I didn't. I had no idea what that meant. I
And
was
I was
like,
so confused because it was
what?
always the higher number before the lower
Yeah,
number.
8, 7. Like, are we counting down? I had no idea. I had no
That
idea
is
what they
so
were talking
funny
about.
that you just mentioned that. Because I literally kid you not, I said that the other day.
That's good. I mean, now we know what it means, but it took me
Yeah,
years. I was like, what did they talk? What did they say? Okay, I guess
and
I'll
I
be
didn't
there at
ask
8.
anyone either. I was just like like that meme where it's like all the math equations.
Yes.
That was my brain when I was sitting on the couch in the
Yeah,
morning. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I guess I'll show up at 8 and see who's there. Like that was the
So let's
plan.
hope for the best. Let's hope I didn't miss it. You show up at
Right.
both times just in case.
Yeah. 'Cause what is that? But no, there was just such a like a shared love for these old things that we all grew up on. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll just keep making these. Like it ended up working out really well. I mean, TikTok was never as it is for anyone. Like it was never a plan to like, I'm gonna make these videos and they're gonna do really well and then I'm gonna do brand deals about like I never thought that ever. I was
Yeah.
just having fun with people who also had nothing to do, really,
Yeah.
just because we were bored.
I know. I think about it all the time. It sounds terrible now. Like it sounds
Yeah.
awful, but people were like dying and we were like, "Hey."
It sounds insane. Like looking back, it's
There's
so
like TikToks
crazy.
of people, it's like me during a literal global pandemic when people are dying. And it's like me dancing in my kitchen, like with like all these like weird faces. I'm like, this
Yes.
is actually like it's insane. I
It
think
was
about it and
crazy.
I'm like, when we have kids, they're gonna be like learning about this in school, and we're gonna be like, this was like so serious yet so unserious at the same
It was
time.
so unfair because I mean that's all we had to do to cope with what was going on. We were
On.
like, we need an escape. We need and TikTok was that escape. Like 2020 TikTok was a different place.
It was a
It
whole different.
was so, that was a different world. I don't even remember who I was.
Sometimes I wish that we were back at that stage.
It
Although
was
my
fun, right?
ADHD was through the roof during that time,
Facts.
because like I can't stay still when it to begin with. I like need social connection. Thank God
Yeah.
I have siblings and I get along with my but oh my God. It was that
Yeah.
time. I definitely needed the TikTok to figure out life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was a pretty fun time.
Yeah,
But
it was
I'm glad we're not in a pandemic anymore.
yeah, I know, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
as soon as I got out of the pandemic and could actually do stuff again, I'm like,
It
oh
was
wow,
like, oh wow, life.
yeah, this is
This is
nice.
weird. Yeah. Oh man.
Well, so if you could be in any Disney TV show or
Mhm.
movie, what one would it be?
Ooh. Ah.
You had the funniest Camp Rock ones, I have to say.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
I was like, Camp Rock sounds so fun. Like we're at summer camp, we're just vibing, we're doing whatever we want. I I was gonna say High School Musical, but I feel like I would go crazy if I'm like sitting at a lunch table and someone starts dancing on it. I'm like, what? Can you move? Like, I feel like I would go crazy now. So I love High School Musical, but East High not for me.
I would see, I love them. I would thrive in an environment. Like, literally, I say it all the time. I'm like, you put me, like, I find an elevated surface, I'm there.
You're like, I'm dancing on it. I'm
I'm
standing there.
dancing on that, and I am, yeah, that's like my
I love
thing.
that. I love that.
I always say it. I was like, I wish I was like at the age I am now when like Glee came out,
Oh
because
my God.
I
Yeah.
could have been part of Glee. It would have been Endgame. It would have been
Honestly,
my
I can
life would
see
have been,
it. I can definitely see it.
yeah,
Just wait
and
for
that's
the reboot. It'll come out soon. That's what you missed.
and that's how
Oh my
Sue
God.
sees it.
Oh my goodness. You're unlocking so many memories for me right
I
now.
know. I literally was
Uh,
obsessed with like Darren Chris. So
really?
like
I
obsessed with.
mean, that's not surprising. He's incredible.
He's incredible, but I was like he was like the love of my life. Like my best friend used to like for my birthday made me like a Darren Chris shirt and like it
Oh,
was
so you were like in this. You
I
were.
I would read plain fan fictions. I would. And I hate reading. I like writing, but I hate reading. And like I think there were like 36 chapters on like just like plain. And I would read
Wow.
it. And then I like begged my mom. I think I forget what year it was, like maybe like
Mhm.
2015 or something. I begged my mom. I was crying. I was like, "Mom, please bring me to New York. I want to go to like
Please.
Elsie Fest, please." And she was like, "Gabriella, like, are you kidding?" I ended up going to Broadway to see Hedwig. I I was like,
Wow. Yeah, you were serious about this.
yeah. And I literally up until last year I went to Darren Chris's like Christmas thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
videos from that.
It's so
Wow.
cool, but I'm like, wow, like I was bad when I was
Obsessed.
a kid.
That
I was
was bad.
I really was. It was
Oh
terrible.
my God.
My
Yeah.
cousin, so my mom like got me tickets to Hedwig on
Mhm.
Broadway, and like when I went, my mom had no idea what it was about. I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And my older cousin came with me, and he like I remember he came down from like the top, and I started crying. And then I like had like my book, my playbook, and I went like this, and my cousin was like, what's going on right now?" I'm like, "Stop." I'm like, "Don't look."
Just not right now, please. I'm having a moment. Please not
Yeah,
right now.
I
No.
was like, I don't even I was really having a moment.
Oh my God. That is
Oh,
so funny.
I can't even. Like now
Oh
all
my
these
God.
memories are so like they were the times.
They were such good times. Oh my gosh. Ugh,
Yeah, but I could so see you in Camp Rock.
I would love to be again. Like that would be so fun. If I was like of age back then, I was like
Yeah,
8 years old.
I
But
know.
yeah,
I saw like a video the other day and it was like sorry. I saw a video the other day and it was someone saying like me being so dedicated to Camp Rock when the other team was clearly so much better.
they
And I'm like,
were. I'm sorry, Camp
I
Star ate
know,
them up. I'm so sorry.
I know. And I think about that all the time. It's like I know like Glee isn't Disney, but it's my
Right. I
correlation.
mean, it's kind of yeah.
And Vocal Adrenaline, for example, was so much better
They
than
were just better. I'm sorry.
and I was like, I wish I could be on Glee, but I'm gonna stand by my people. And
Yeah,
if I could dance in it, I want to do it for Vocal Adrenaline, but also at the same time, I'm
it's like
like,
we can't.
it's my people. I am a loyal person.
I'm loyal. That's how you knew who was loyal, who wasn't. If you stuck with Camp Rock throughout
Yeah,
both movies,
both
you were
movies. Yeah,
loyal. You were loyal. But
yeah.
oh my God, it was tough. Camp Star
They were
was.
good.
They were
Camp Star was
just.
good.
They were just so good. They were better. Uh, oh my gosh,
I know. What a time.
what a time to be alive.
So
I
when's your
really do
next
think
show?
our next show tonight. Tonight we have. I have training and the vocal lesson, and then we have a company meeting because whenever we get to a new city, we all meet before the show and just like run down the new space we're in and like
Yeah.
talk about things to expect and the time being here, all the locals that are helping us.
You guys don't have
And
tech or anything, right?
no, we do a sound check in each theater just because every theater is different. So we
Yeah.
do a sound check, but that's the closest thing we do to a tech in
Do you
each
guys, I
space.
mean, there's not enough time
There's
for
not. There really isn't.
at every place. Do you guys have like any traditions before or after a show as a company? I remember we used to do like at dance, I used to do the Justin Bieber prayer circle with everyone.
Oh my
Pray to
God.
Justin Bieber. And even if you didn't like him, I was in love with him. I loved him. But even if you didn't like him, it's like you had to be part of
You
the
have to.
Justin Bieber prayer circle, or else you weren't having a good show.
And that's just that.
That's just that. So I was wondering if you guys happen to have any type of tradition that you do.
Well, I would say most of our traditions happen after the show, just because before the show there's so much
So
going
much
on, and
going
like
on.
to get everyone in the same room would be so chaotic. But yeah, I mean, we're constantly going out after the show. I am not a huge like go out after the show person because I'm so tired.
Tired.
I'm so exhausted. I'll show my face and be like, "Hey y'all, I love y'all. I'm going home to go
Yeah,
to
you're
sleep."
like, I'm here, but I'm going to bed. See you
Yeah,
tomorrow for the next show.
exactly, exactly that. But yeah, I mean, they always find something to do in these cities. I mean, we're on tour, so we're all together all the time. We're kind of all we have. Like this is the family, the community that we've built. So they'll find a bar near the theater or like somewhere fun playing music or even like a chill place like a pool or the hotel lobby that we're in or anything. Like we'll just come together after the show, really decompress. I find it helps a lot of us. Like I said, I don't frequent them just because I'm so exhausted. But they are whenever I do go, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I came. This was nice.
Sorry, how many shows like per city do you have?
There are 8 shows a week. So we're off Mondays. We usually travel on Mondays. And then Tuesday through Sunday we have 8 shows.
That's exciting though. I love being part of a show.
Oh yeah. It's the
Like the
most fun
best
you can
thing
have. Yeah. It's fun.
after every show, it's like, all right, let's do it all again.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, we did it. Great. Now let's do it all again tomorrow.
Again.
Yeah.
When does the
They
tour end? 2025, right?
yeah, they booked dates through July of next year. So we'll see what they do after that.
So you're visiting a
Uh,
bunch of places you've never seen before.
oh
How's
yeah.
that?
It's been really nice actually. Some places are better than others, but I mean it's like we're in Tulsa right now. I never thought I'd be in Tulsa for anything. So I'm like, okay, I get to see what these places are about, like all over the country. It's really cool to see like the different people, how different audiences react to the show. Like it's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, do you have anything else to say to everyone about the show,
Um,
about your experience? Is there anything that you want to tell us? Any secrets or?
there are tons of secrets in this show that you will probably have to buy tickets to see because I'll get fired if I tell you.
Let's
But
make sure that doesn't happen.
yeah, I would just say for anyone who has the opportunity to come see the show in your city, like it's worth it. It's worth. I'm not just saying that because I'm in it. They didn't pay me to say this. I promise. This show is just such a nice insight on who Michael was, and even if you're like not a huge Michael fan, it's a huge party. Like at the end of the day, it's so much fun, so much dancing, so many elements that it's you really get engulfed into this crazy world of an artist who strive for perfection, which I think we all can relate to. So if you have a chance, come see the show. Come see your boy if you can. And thank you, Gabriella. This was actually really fun.
Thank you. I'm so glad that we got to do this, not only
Me
just for
too.
like my podcast, but I'm so glad that we
Yeah.
actually got to speak in one-on-one
Right. Yeah. You're not just a face on my feed
on
anymore.
social
I'm like,
media. Yeah.
now I know you. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can do like a project soon together or something when
For
you
sure.
done with all the crazy Michael Jackson stuff that you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely stay in touch as we always do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Where are you originally from?
Originally, I'm from New Orleans. I lived
Oh,
in Georgia for most of my life, but yeah, my parents are from New Orleans, and I was born there. We moved when I was pretty young, but that's where I'm from.
oh, that's so cool. Do
Yeah.
you like love being from there?
Oh yeah, I love New Orleans. I love the Saints. That's my favorite team. I think across all sports, not even just
I've
football.
always wanted to go visit there, but I haven't gotten the chance to yet.
Really, it's a nice place to visit. It really is. I mean, of course, you have to hit all the mainstays like the Bourbon Street. If you can go from Mardi Gras, try to. It's crazy. I try to avoid it at Mardi Gras, honestly, but
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense. I know there's so many things that happen like in Boston that I'm like,
right?
I can't even get myself to go out. Like when
Yeah,
I
I
was in
can't.
college, like you had to go to all those things and I lived in the city, but sometimes it's just like too much.
I yeah. And everyone's like, "You're not going there." I'm like, "No, I literally am from there. I don't need to go every year. Like, it's okay." Yeah,
I know. I do love stuff like that though. I love being part of a community. I love being able to like I think that's honestly why I want to get as far away from Boston as possible. Hopefully, I'm moving to either New York or California pretty soon. I'd
oh
rather
yeah,
California because of the weather and then my dance career, I think kind of takes me out there a little bit more than it does New York. But
absolutely.
but yeah, I love being from Boston.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have it any other way. I
I
can
would say when we stopped in Boston, it was really nice. It was a really good city.
Yeah, we
And
rep.
we also were there. We also were there when the Celtics won the ship.
You
So
were?
yeah,
Oh
so
my
that
gosh, yes,
parade
I
was
remember that
crazy.
you posted something. You're like, how the heck do I get to rehearsal?
How am I gonna get there? That parade was right outside of our hotel.
Yeah, I lived right in the North End at the time. So it
Wow.
was
Oh, you were
like
right
10,
there.
yeah, so it was like 10 minutes away
Wow.
walking. It was insane. But we're gonna
Wow.
go
Yeah,
for another win this year, and then it's gonna be insane again, and then you're gonna
you're
have to
right.
actually enjoy it.
You're right. I'm gonna actually be in the parade this time. I have
Well,
to.
thank you so much. I'm so glad that we got to do this. And we'll
Me
definitely
too. Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.